So Cathy Englebert said something that, again, she said the quiet part out loud. More so than anything, that is what happened. She said the quiet part out loud, and people are outraged. Not only that, the WNBA players are outraged. And it's looking like they're going to be... I would not be surprised if they try to oust her as commissioner. It's not going to happen. Just putting it out there, it's not going to happen. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 34.3K, only 28 subscribers to go by the end of the day. But the reason why it's not going to happen is the WNBA players do not employ Cathy Englebert. Cathy Englebert is the damn commissioner of the league. She is employed by the owners. The only people that are going to oust her are the owners. And at the end of the day, this league is making record profits under her. And the reality of this is the owners are happy making record profits. That's simply put. The only way that the WNBA players could get rid of her is if they boycott games. And if they boycott games for her basically saying rivalries are good for the growth of the league, that was what she said. That is literally, you can maybe say she should have addressed other things, but what she actually said was rivalries are good for the league and players need to ignore Twitter. If she gets ousted for saying rivalries are good for the league and players should ignore Twitter, yes. Was it a bit was there a bit of a lack of empathy there? Yes, because at the end of the day, it's completely wrong. Again, I will always say this. These players have read stuff that no person should ever have to read about themselves. I fully believe Angel Reese is not making this up. She's not making up the stuff that has happened to her. Caitlin Clark ignores everything. But she has to walk around with security. If you just want to look at some of the Caitlin Clark things, there's literally a thread, I'm not going to show it, of Caitlin Clark again having to read some stuff. Again, no one should ever have to read about themselves. For both of them. Dejanay Carrington has had to read awful stuff about her. Aaliyah Boston has had to as well. But it's the reality of this is that LeBron James, if you type in LeBron James and any insult or slur, there are thousands of them every freaking day. If LeBron James misses a shot, there is a NBA YoungBoy profile picture, or who's the new... I don't even know. What's the 2024 version of an NBA YoungBoy profile picture from 2020? Whatever the 2024 version of this is, giving him every bit of abuse that no one should ever have to read about themselves. But the reality is that you either are able to deal with it or delete Twitter. What Cathy Englebert said was not wrong. The reality of it all is that she did not want to answer the question again and again and again and again and again. That is not her job. Her job is to make this league as much money as possible. And everyone talking about them promoting the rivalry. Man, she gave Caitlin the gauntlet. 11 games in 20 days in your first 4 games against the Liberty twice and the best defense in the Connecticut twice. You're acting like her whole goal for the season is not to make as much money as possible. The whole schedule was to make as much money as possible. Everything she does is to make as much money as possible. Because that's her job. That is her job. If we want to talk about, again, some of the NBA stuff. Man, David Stern was like a mafia boss. He's the greatest commissioner in sports. The reality of this is that, you know what her job is? Her job is to make the league as much money as possible. And so that the owners make as much money as possible. And it is the job of the players' union to negotiate in the CBA to get as much of a chunk of that money as possible. That is the job of the commissioner. The commissioner's job is to make sure the league makes as much money, and it is the players' union whose job is to make sure the players make as much money as possible. There is nothing else. It is not the commissioner's job to moderate Twitter. It's not. It's just not. And the reality of this whole thing is that it's only going to get worse now. It is only going to get worse. And the problem is that, again, it is it seems like the WNBA players and some of these old fans are going to be perfectly happy to have the league go back to the small club that it was, because it wasn't even relevant enough to have trolls last year. It wasn't it's a horrible, I said from day one, It is a horrible symptom of growth in a sports league. Like, if you think that what these players are receiving is even remotely close to the abuse LeBron gets, the problem is that is just celebrity culture. Everyone that is in a heightened level of celebrity, which Caitlin Clark, which Angel Reese are, which every player that goes up against them on that given day are a heightened level of celebrity, it's the same crap. The reality is, the problem is not Cathy Englebert. The problem is not Caitlin Clark. The problem is not Angel Reese. The problem is none of these people. And by the way, why is Caitlin Clark getting blamed for what Cathy Englebert says? If anything, Cathy Englebert screwed over Caitlin Clark more than anyone else. Said she didn't, literally put Caitlin Clark to the gauntlet because she didn't think Caitlin Clark, she effectively, or one of the marketing officers, they essentially admitted, I'm not going to quote, but they, a roundabout way admitted, they gave Caitlin Clark the gauntlet schedule because they didn't think she was going to be good, and they wanted her to get destroyed through 10 games so that people started watching the other players. If anyone, she screwed over Caitlin more than anyone else. But the reality is that we've now got people saying the Magic and Bird rivalry was a bad thing. If the Magic and Bird rivalry doesn't happen, there's no Michael Jordan boom. Shaq plays football, LeBron plays football, Anthony Edwards plays football, Luka stays in Real Madrid. What are we doing? If there's no Magic and Bird, there's no Dream Team. There's no Pau Gasol, there's no Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki's in the German army. Pau Gasol's chilling for Barcelona with his brother Marc Gasol winning EuroLeague titles. Luka Doncic has just won his 6th straight EuroLeague MVP playing for Real Madrid. If Magic and Bird doesn't happen. I don't get it. I actually don't get it. That, the people rewriting history. But the reality is she should have. By the way, the funniest part is that I saw someone respond what she needs to say. She needs to acknowledge what's going on. It's that wouldn't be good enough. Nothing is going to be good enough because the reality is she does not have the power to moderate Twitter. She doesn't. Nothing is going to be right again until Caitlin Clark is out of the league. The reality is that these people just want Caitlin Clark out of the league, but also want every cent of the money Caitlin Clark is bringing into the league. It doesn't really work both ways. And the reality is that she's not even a problem. She's not even a problem. Is the fact Caitlin Clark's unhinged trolls are getting attributed to Caitlin Clark because they call themselves CC fan 1 2 3 4 5 6, and their whole life is dedicated to abusing all the other WNBA players. But the reality is, Angel is my Reese is my angel 1 2 3 4 5 6, whose whole thing is to try destroy the life of Caitlin Clark as well, are the same. It's the same thing. It's literally trolls. It's the Ronaldo trolls. It's the Messi trolls. The problem is these players are now at a level of celebrity that they're in that troll. They are going to have those trolls. And, it's unfortunate. It is really unfortunate because none of this is right. None of this is right. But the reality is, I have been at times in my life a Z-list celebrity. The amount of abuse I've gotten as a Z-list celebrity, I can only imagine how bad this is. That's why there is, obviously some empathy there from myself because I'm I wouldn't be able to deal with it. I don't know how these players are dealing with it. And the way Caitlin Clark is dealing with it is better than everyone else. People are this isn't a rivalry. It's yeah, it's not. Angel Reese made it a rivalry. The media and Angel Reese made it a rivalry. Caitlin Clark's just way better. She's way better and hasn't even acknowledged anything. And then we're seeing people saying Angel's not enjoying this because she doesn't get to just play basketball. She has to deal with other stuff. Yeah, because Caitlin doesn't read the other stuff. If Angel Reese just deletes the Twitter app, she doesn't see anything. If Dejanay Carrington deletes the Twitter app, they don't see anything. All of this gets solved by, I would love it if she just came out and said, I've advised every single player to delete the Twitter app from their phone. That's the only thing I can do. I can't stop it. I empathize with these players. No one should have to read this stuff, but I can't stop any of this. I've advised every single one to delete the Twitter app off their phone. What they do with that information is on them. Really, that's the reality of it. That is what she should say to them. Every single player should be advised to delete the app. Not delete their accounts, not shut it all down. Just delete the app. Delete the app. If there's something you need to tweet, you don't get Twitter fingers because having to download the app again and type in your username and password and log back in. By the time you've logged back in, your Twitter fingers are probably slowed down and you're the autopilot Twitter fingers are probably gone. But the reality is that is the only way this crap stops. The only way this crap stops is if people stop engaging with it. And the reality is that this is just toxic sports conversation. We've seen, like, Skip Bayless made a career off it, of some of the toxic sports takes. Like, we've got, like, Jason Whitlock is still making a career out of talking about sports. We've got, like, so many of these things. And that's the reality of it. The Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate is still going on Twitter. LeBron's about to retire. LeBron's 40. It's been happening since Twitter's inception, which was like, what, LeBron was in like year 3, year 4? It has been going on for 20 freaking years. For 20 freaking years. It's been going on. And it's never going to end. It's never going to end. The only thing these players can do what the NBA players do. Hire a PR. You can hire a PR person. Some NBA players, a lot of these players have the same person. We've seen it so many times, especially with footballers, where they, like soccer players, if you're American, where they end up, someone will tweet off the wrong account and will say, great win today and great to score a goal against X team, when it's actually one of their other clients. Like, literally, every team, pay someone 60 grand and their job is to manage everyone's social media. And realistically, just manage everyone's Twitter. That will be the best 60 grand every team ever spends. But yeah, like, I think they're going to try to get rid of her. They're not going to get rid of her. The reality is that she is the best commissioner this league has ever had. She made a horrible, horrible call at the start of the year thinking Caitlin Clark was not going to be good. But the reality of her is that her job is to make money. And this league, in fairness, ever since the start of the league, has probably, like, you can very much tell over the Olympic break, they realized, we should probably stop trying to not push Caitlin and push everyone else, and let's just send her to the moon. Let's just push her to the moon. Everyone's gonna be happy. We're gonna keep breaking viewership records, and that is the truth. She is very good at making money, and her job, that's her job. Oh, my voice is gone. But that is her job. None of the other crap is her job. She's not gonna lose her job. The only way is if the players refuse to play. And if the players refuse to play because their commissioner said rivalries are good for the sports and I think players should just ignore Twitter, the reality is that's what the commissioner said. If the players do not play because the commissioner said that, then the league's done. Just the league's done. Oh, I bit my tongue. The league's done.